All right, can we not talk about Texas and buying 8 homes and not caring?
We're
about
done with
the
that.
price?
That was last year, bro.
Okay.
Or last podcast.
I would like to start this podcast off before David jumps on with.
Whoa!
Mask mandate is over.
All right, welcome to another episode, All Things Real Estate. We are your maskless musketeers. Gonna do a couple of things today. I'm gonna talk about market update stats where we're at as we enter in March. I'm also gonna talk about this crazy proposal that is being pushed by the city of San Jose that is going to affect every single house in the city. So here's your market minute. So currently in Santa Clara County, we have 679 single-family homes.
Yep.
Slight increase from last month.
That's about a 25% increase, isn't it?
That is correct. And we have 553 pending. So remember, last month we were selling them faster than we were listing them. This month it's flipped a little bit.
It kind of makes sense as we're going into the season a little bit here, and people find out how much their neighbors are getting for their homes, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's about 313 condos. And always, like we mentioned, keep in mind that's county-wide from Gilroy to Palo Alto, and that includes about 2 million people. So
we're hitting up to about 1,000 residential units.
Correct.
Which we're normally used to seeing about 1,500 or so.
Yeah.
So we're okay.
Which is interesting because in December, going into January, you made the prediction how many homes now to when, the summer season, spring season starts.
Run it back. Was he accurate?
Huge, getting close. We're a month away and we're 200 homes off from what you said. You said 1,200 homes as we enter spring. What do you say, April? And March, we're at almost 1,000.
Yep.
So
tune in next month to see if my
It's
prediction was
ticking.
correct.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But last time I felt like we never finished a mortgage minute.
Mortgage minute? or
Mortgage
market
minute?
See why I'm the new guy?
Oh, there you go.
Well,
I meant your real estate minute.
You are a sales.
Anything else to add? Because I realize I always cut everyone out.
Yeah. Or you cut in.
All right, so let's
or
make
cut
another
off.
prediction.
I cut in.
I want to hear what David's prediction is. Where's the inventory going to be, let's say?
June.
I was going to say May or June. Yes.
Yeah, so June I think we'll be sitting in between 1,600, 1,700.
Okay.
Between Class 1 and Class 2.
Okay.
For
Santa Clara County?
Santa Clara County.
And that's
single-family home, condos, townhomes.
okay. And that's kind of where we were last year and the year before. So that means that we're going to catch up to where the inventory was the last couple of years, which is still extremely limited.
But one thing to add, the price with that is just so significantly different. Last year we were looking let's just segue in 1,600 homes, sure, same, whatever. But at 1.2 in Blossom Valley, now it's like
1.7. Thanks to Mark.
If we know what we know, that you're gonna actually have to guess in the podcast how much we sold 5891 Manischetti Court for $100 if you get it right. You'll be enamored. And if you don't choose us to list your home, I'm not sure what you're thinking.
Oh my God.
Love it.
I appreciate the confidence and enthusiasm. I mean, of course, we like to think that we're the best solution for all people,
Absolutely.
for all the real estate needs, and that's why we call our podcast All Things Real Estate, right?
Highest price per square foot since zip codes were invented in 95123. Shout out, Mark.
Damn.
Good stuff.
Bam.
All right, what else do we got? Because otherwise, I'll jump into my next topic.
Go.
City of San Jose, the same city I was born, raised, and will probably die in, has a proposal that they are pushing hard to put into law. If you guys remember the Paris Climate Accord, right? Bunch of nations joining together to make the world a more eco-friendly place. Last administration pulled out of that. Our current administration jumped back in. Well, as a supplement to that, the city of San Jose has a measure on the books right now they're trying to pass into law that says by 2030, which is only 8 years away, they're going to ban natural gas in all residential homes.
Even a pre-existing?
Pre-existing.
See, that's the kicker right there.
So keep in mind
Define natural gas. Like fireplace.
Propane or gas.
Propane.
Yeah.
No gas
Because
oven.
of
So
fracking.
no
because-
barbecue, no...
Nothing. Natural gas.
No.
So I got
Wow.
to tell you, there's cities right now with new construction, like Los Gatos, for example. You cannot build new construction with any gas. You can't get a permit to put a propane tank in it. I mean, unless if you're in the mountains and there's no. Well, no, even there, it's all electric.
That's why you see no more fireplaces.
City of
Chimneys.
San Jose
True.
actually passed that same law in 2020. So if
Okay.
you build new construction in San Jose, you cannot have natural gas.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, so the house I just bought in June, I have a gas pool heater, gas stove, gas furnace, gas water heater. So they're telling me that I'm going to have to pay out of my own pocket to replace all of those things.
You know, here's what I don't understand. Look at the price of electricity right now. It is going through the roof. Now, you know, I don't want to start this environmental conversation.
We're going to Texas.
But I got thought we were going to talk about that. And by the way, most of the new construction in Texas, no fireplaces at all. Yeah. But no, it's you look at that, and I got to go back to how is electricity generated. We don't get our electricity from solar or wind or water right now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so doesn't that have an impact on the environment?
Well, correct. And not only that, they have a hard enough time keeping the lights on in the summer here
100%.
with rolling blackouts and stuff like that.
Every year.
And with more electric cars coming online, I mean, how do they expect the infrastructure to hold up?
Has this passed?
Yeah, that's a good question.
but it is in review. Several of the council members are for it, and they are working to push that through. Think about how that impacts low income.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if
everything
they
will have to
100%.
switch to electric?
Well, what if they can't afford it?
Well, again, this is an 8-year, so the target is 2030. Yeah. Obviously, there's going to have to be subsidies. There's going to have to be infrastructure.
Well, or what they might do is put it on the seller when they're selling the property, that it has to be converted, just like we have low flow water fixtures right now. But the Bay Area Clean Air Management was trying to pass this a few years ago, where they said that you had to convert your fireplace. Yeah. Right, and they're going to put that on sellers, and it was a $5,000 to $7,000 expense for sellers. I can see where they might push that on the sellers.
Can you imagine the permit process and approval for all that stuff?
Well, we already don't pull permits half the time because of how long it takes now. Not me, but the
Is this for multi-units as well?
This right now it's residential, so my guess is single family condo townhome. A lot of times if it's more than 4 units, they get some exemption. But again, this is the direction that it's going. Whether it's
5 years after that, we all get to drive electric cars.
Hopefully California at this rate just breaks off from the United States and we just have our own island. And
I don't think that fixes the problem.
Man.
This is getting horrible.
Better learn how to swim if that happens.
Yeah. But that said, San Jose, the Bay Area, is still a great place to buy and sell real estate. Obviously, all of these things, there's a lot of red tape in California. It has not slowed down the desire to live here or the prices people will put on properties.
Okay, I have a question here. If this starts to get more serious, do people look at houses a different way than when they buy it?
In the sense of?
Well, like cost to retrofit those things? I mean, certainly it'll be
like, do they think about it before 2030? Like, we should start switching.
Listen, the reality of it is we've already seen buyers here have the money to pay for whatever. So,
but do they start switching out stuff now?
No,
not now. It hasn't been passed.
Before you sell yourself?
Yeah.
Well, I think it is interesting that you say that, because I'm not sure if you have dealt with it. It was my first time. Manischetti Court, I was like, what's up with the solar? I had a little bit of a hard time figuring it out. And I was like, hey, Mr. Seller, how does this work? Basically, Tesla went to him and said, hey, we'll put these on, no cost. You're going to buy electricity from us, Tesla, not PG&E.
I got to tell you, I think there's going to be a lot more of that happening. And you got to give Elon credit, man, because I was looking at what that client is paying in his electricity rate. It's about 40% less than what PG&E charges. So if you can have Tesla come in and be my power source, and they're going to pay for the solar panels, no long-term leasing or anything, you just got to buy your electricity from me at a reduced rate. And they guarantee that rate too.
If you have the generator, the generator and electricity goes out, power goes out, you're good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's huge.
Which I like that, and I like that they give you the 30 years. It's going to increase by this much over the next 30 years, because a lot of people don't know PG&E has increased over 36% over the last 2 years.
Just wait, they're looking at another
per kilowatt hour. Yeah, you want to sue PG&E? Ooh, great idea! Boom, we're putting it back on you, and you don't even realize it.
Yep.
I heard yesterday they're getting a bunch of flack because the helicopters they use to trim the trees, they don't like it's too dangerous now. The way they're doing it. So I don't know.
But in Austin, no issue there.
The helicopters. We're gonna go back to Austin.
Hopefully. Yeah, let's go back to Austin. So
I got 3 properties in
64 houses.
That's right.
Mark is the unofficial mayor of Austin.
Oh, there you go.
What do you got, Ben?
I don't have much.
What?
Well, what are you doing with buyers right now? How many offers? I go back, like on a weekly basis, we talk about this. I mean, one of the weeks you were like at 19 offers and 0 accepted. Nothing on us, but just how the way the market is right now. I mean, what are you guys seeing on? What is the average amount of offers?
It's so interesting. You hear, like, we have this company meetings on Tuesdays, and Carl asks everyone, what do people see? And you get 20-30% of the agents in here saying it's slowing down. I don't see a slowdown at all. Nope. I'm getting smoked on offers.
But it's growing in very weird areas. So like Boston Valley, right?
Oh.
I had the backup offer. This offer was significantly higher than everyone. I couldn't even touch it. There's no comparable sales that would help me, right? And they had a large down payment, so it worked.
But
Whatever.
I feel like it's now spreading. Even
But
Hayward's getting
yeah,
crazy.
you did Hayward. I did
Yeah.
Oakland Hills. I reviewed comps with you. We were like, hey, we're gonna for sure be in like top 5. 27 offers listed at 1.3, went over 2.
Do you remember the townhome we were talking about a couple weeks ago? I think it was Jordan Chase and went like 250,000 over asking. This one in Hayward just went 225K
back
over
and say,
asking.
You said that real fast, and I think a lot of listeners need to catch on that. You said it was listed at 1.3, but it sold for how much?
Over 2 million.
How do you even? Now, some sellers might say, "Well, you must be underpricing the property." Was that property underpriced based off the comps?
It was priced underpriced, yes, but it was a unique property in the
Okay.
sense that it had 18,000 square foot yard.
Okay.
But it was very steep.
Okay.
Beautiful view.
Right.
So 1,900 square foot house, but
So is that much more
but
desirable?
check this out: a 3,400 square foot house
Same
with the
neighborhood.
same neighborhood, less view,
Yep.
much larger, 5,000 square foot lot, 6,000 square foot lot, something like that. Sold for like 1.6 or 1.7.
Yeah. It's almost like there's no rhyme or reason to these comparables anymore.
So
You know, it's-
I think it's important to know before you jump on, you have to be really careful because everything is as is. And when you have a loan, if the house doesn't appraise and it's one of those subjective things, maybe Mark thinks the view sucks. Maybe I think the view is amazing. But we're paying $300,000 for that view. On paper, the numbers will not reflect
Right.
the actual.
I'm going on a listing appointment tonight, and as I was preparing for it and kind of because the client always asks, well, what's up with the market? What market?
Right.
What kind of market are we in? And where am I in the comps and all that? And my whole line to him tonight is going to be, this is obviously unlike any other market we've ever been, but it is an emotional market.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
there is no rhyme or reason. It is that one person that says, I'll pay 1.9 for a house that's only worth 1.6. It is purely based on emotion. Comps don't matter anymore. Condition of property doesn't matter anymore.
What people are willing to pay is the price that's worth.
Right.
Okay, so agents like you guys, obviously I can't relate to this because 1 year and stuff, but do emotions catch up to buyers? Are they going to come back? Have they come back years down the line and say, you guys, you screwed me. You made me buy a house.
Yes. When we see markets like this, that's where lawsuits will follow. This whole thing on Manichetti, I'll be open with it. I'm not going to talk numbers here, but when we got that Hail Mary pass offer come in, I literally called the agent up to ensure that she properly educated her buyers. And I told her I would rather have this conversation now than in a courtroom. So there is definitely a scenario in our industry where people are buying non-contingent. California, a lot of people need to understand that yes, our contracts are set up non-contingent, and there's penalties in there that if you come in non-contingent, you walk in a day, you're going to lose your earnest money deposit. Liquidated damages clause controls that. However, the state of California hates non-contingent offers, and they think that we're taking advantage of the buyer if you're taking those. Now that's the playing field right now, so you have to do them. But state of California has like a reasonable amount of time, and it's generally 3 to 5 days that the buyer has the right to change their mind. So good luck in that scenario. So, but to your point,
you look at some of these, agents who submit offers for. How do they even talk their clients into writing an offer that high and being okay with it if they know it's not going to price? How do they know in 3 years?
from them because they're getting offers accepted.
Well, see,
You're not.
but I see that's the difference. I feel like I feel the relationships that I have with my clients is a 5-year outlook down the line. It's a future down the line with them. I don't want to put them in a situation.
We always tell clients that, if we're going to approve or not approve the sale. What I mean by that is, listen, I want to make sure that when you come back to us in 5 years, that property has worked for you. The appreciation's been it, and it's going to be an easy sell for you to do. And that's the challenge in these hot markets, because in these hot markets, people look past distractions. So a property that backs up to a freeway that has a pool and that's the only thing in the backyard that's, got deferred maintenance, people will look past that right now.
The red flag is yellow.
Yeah,
It's
great. That's
fine,
great.
man. It's just a freeway.
Absolutely.
Oh, now there's 5,000 houses in the
Right.
market you got to sell in 5
Right.
years. Oh, there's a fucking freeway in your backyard.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I think that's another point too, is that there's so many agents who do push, and I feel like to the listeners and everything, to have agents on your side like this who are not just trying to sell you and push you on something like that is what you need in this situation.
We're an advisor at the end of the day to educate our clients in the best way for them to make the best decisions possible.
Yeah.
That's the way we operate, right? We'll never walk into a property and, look how beautiful the master bedroom is, or the closet, or the granite counters, and that's why you need to buy this thing. Why are you not buying it? Listen, we might talk you out of a property, right, beforehand. And if we do get into the contract, we're going to tear that property apart to make sure, listen, we might risk some money to lock it up, But if that property's not the right one for you to buy, we're going to advise them that it's not.
100%. I think a lot of agents lack integrity and they have commission breath, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to us if we sell a house to them now, 3 months from now, a year from now.
Yeah.
I think it's all about doing the right thing by them. And I told you the other day, I was like, I'm starting to lack integrity, not lack, but I do not want to lack integrity, look
Sure.
at you in the eyes
Fair
and
enough.
say,
Yeah.
you should pay 1.6 for a property I firmly believe is 1.5. We'll put our best foot forward. If we don't get it, we get the next one.
Yeah.
Not only helping them, but you know, they're friends and family too. And it's so funny. Just talking about this beforehand, you meet a buyer and I have friends who've written 9 offers with another agent, haven't gotten accepted. Well, I mean, hopefully, you know, what we teach and can guide you, you can help guide other friends to, you know, be in a better position than just jumping into offers and just writing.
In a market like this, a lot of it really does come down to who you know, right?
Yeah.
Putting yourself in a position to know the other agent on the other end, knowing that you're going to get it done, you're going to get it done, and either match the highest offer or be the highest offer. But there has to be something.
Listen, it always amazes me when people pick a real estate agent. A lot of times it's because, it's a friend's family member or a cousin or
Or a neighbor.
whatever, a neighbor, right? It's my neighbor.
I got their
or a buddy.
mailer. I got their
You know,
mailer.
when you sit there and say that, you know, if I had some medical condition, I'm going to go find the best doctor possible. If I've got a legal situation, I'm going to find the best attorney possible. I'm going to pay them whatever I need to pay them to get the greatest results. And, you know, the consumers have to look at us that way. They don't understand this is the largest, some of them understand, it's the largest asset that individuals will own in their entire life, especially here in the Bay Area. Yeah. And yet, you know, they want to hire somebody who's their friend who might have sold 2 houses, or they're a brand new agent, not really understanding, especially in these multiple offer situations that we're into, one slip of the tongue can cost you $100,000, $200,000. And I will commit all day long that when we go to bat for our clients, we will ensure that not only do we generate them the highest value possible, but we will also do it while ensuring we're protecting their liability and our liability.
And one thing that I'd like to add is if you ask the average agent, like, do you think you're the best agent? They're like, no. I'm like, how can you sell something and be the best you can be? And if you think Mark is way better than me, why don't you go work with Mark or something? To me, that's weird. But I also think that so many people are caught up in the fact of like, what's your commission? What's your commission? Because consumers are not educated on like what questions to ask. So
Right.
here is a better question. And then you give a question and you give a question. If you're watching this and you're thinking about selling your home, and you'd like to talk to an agent, a great question to ask is, hey, what is your strategy going to be to get me the most amount of money for my home? Why don't you go through this strategy?
That's great. Instead of asking, what are you going to list my house for?
What are you going to list it for?
Right?
Are we just going to take the highest offer? Are we going to have open houses? Are we going to have
Right.
we started doing weekday open houses. I think it's a great way to get people into a house that are out of town for the weekend. So just little things make a huge difference.
Yeah. Agreed.
And
What's a good question?
Yeah, you know.
What's a question you'd recommend instead of like, what's your commission?
How are you going to protect my liabilities?
Ooh,
How are you going to ensure that buyer's not going to come back and sue me and you?
the broker over here.
I'm just saying.
Been doing it 30 plus years.
Well, yeah, and a lot of buyers don't run into such a nice agent as you on the other side who will help and guide them into writing a correct offer and not putting them and their buyers in a situation of turmoil.
That was funny.
got-
All that awkward silence.
Oh no, I got more.
Oh, all right, let's go.
It has been announced by Google. April 4th. Is it April Fool's Day on April 1st or April 4th?
Oh,
April
boy.
1st.
Haha, April Fool's. No, I'm just kidding. April 4th is everyone's first day, it sounds like, back at Google.
Okay.
So we can expect to see the big double-decker
Yeah.
silver buses and the hustle bustle kind of coming back, which is kind of cool. Things are becoming more normal.
Yep.
Current matter on hand, we had Biden's State of the Union last night. We have a massive war going underway. Hopefully it's not going to get worse. Of course, thinking about Ukraine during all of this, but
Yeah,
seeing how, things in Russia and Ukraine and Europe, kind of everyone banding together and how it's ultimately going to affect the market here in the United States, right? I think the Feds have been pushed into kind of a corner where I don't think we're going to see a rate hike anymore. I think we're seeing a rate increase because of inflation, but what are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
I think it's inflation, right? Right now we're at 7.5% in inflation, which is the highest that we've seen in
40 years.
right? I am actually speechless when I see what's happening in our market right now, because it doesn't make any sense to me. I've been around .com days, we kind of saw the same thing, but I'm not seeing what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's, it's a very challenging scenario where we have such this dichotomy of inflation and global issues and national issues and all of these things that are hitting us. And yet in Silicon Valley and across the nation right now, people are still throwing money out there like crazy. And I got to believe at some point, at some point, we're going to see a correction in that or a thought process change.
And that is actually, and maybe it's a good way for us to kind of end on this, is kind of our prediction, because we are way past our normal cycles. It is going to have to flatten out and correct at some point. So the question
normal
is,
cycle is 5 to 7 years in your eyes,
or even 7 to 10. You know, we had a mini dip from March to May when COVID first happened and everybody's locked down. But aside from that, I mean, everything has been, highly appreciated.
And we were on a 10-year ride at that point.
Exactly. So we're now, 12-year ride with a minor blip along the way. And I know we've said this for the past year or two, it's got to slow down at some point, but I really feel that with all the money that's been pumped into the economy, now we have inflation, supply chain shortages, we have a war, interest rate hikes coming, it's starting to get this perfect storm where at some point, we're going to hit a wall. Yeah. Now, does it crash, 50%? No. But I think it is realistic to believe that we will see a 10 to maybe 20% decrease in prices. So the question for you guys, when is that going to happen?
Well, I think the topic for next podcast is, are we in a bubble? And when's that bubble going to burst, right? I'm very, again, challenged by that, because I call what people are paying now, it's fluff value, right? It's that price where you have a house that's worth 1.5, but gosh, I'm going to pay 1.9 for it just to secure it, because I do not want to run around with these open houses anymore. There's nothing for me to look at. And damn it, if I got to pay that extra money to have a piece of gold in Silicon Valley, I will do so. Mm-hmm. When the market shifts, that's going to be the first part that's going to drop down. I mean, we're seeing some of these houses that are literally, 30, 40% higher than they were last year.
Yeah.
Well, how do you justify that?
I just put an offer on a house today, and they bought it last year for 1.3, and I stuck an offer in today at 1.6. They bought it last year.
So, I mean, I think just to break it down in simpler terms so that people like myself understand, is 2020, all hell broke loose with with COVID. Mm-hmm. Someone like myself, a 1099 employee, was able to take advantage of opportunities that were presented. I didn't know if I was ever going to sell a house again. Shit, at one point I was making a resume, right? I didn't know. We couldn't do open houses. We couldn't see each other, nothing. Right. So luckily, our industry, we were able to get some money through, small business loans and what was it, PPP, where you get, XYZ. I don't have any employees, so I'm a very small fish in the pond. But with that money that I was able to get, if somebody took, let's just say $100,000 for a round number, put that into the stock market in just like a mutual fund. The stock market since then is up over 60%. Mm-hmm. So they're looking at that money so differently. Nobody's really tracking it. I think I heard on Biden's speech last night that they're finally putting someone in the government to take advantage, or to find out who's taking advantage of the system. Mm-hmm. But the people who got millions of dollars who threw it into the stock market, who cares if they overpay? Because it's like free money to them. And that's how all the inflation started, in my opinion, is so many people had free money given to them. They made more money with the free money. And now they're like, oh, hotel rooms are $1,000?
Well,
who cares?
Listen, I mean, it goes back to who was impacted by COVID. Mm-hmm. It was, in our areas, the service industry individuals, and they were not the buyers back then. They weren't the people that had money. It's technology, medical. Those industries weren't impacted. If anything, they flourished. Mm-hmm. Look at companies like Zoom. Look at all Facebook. Look at all those companies where people are sitting in their room on their computers. Technology boomed and medical boomed. Mm-hmm. So, yes, those people continue to make more and more money. Plus, they were able to tap into PPP and SBA money that gave them additional spendable funds. I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality of it.
Okay, but at some point you got to pay the piper. Which is back to my question.
Yeah, back to Dave's question.
Wait, the biggest thing is
you can run off.
Hold on. What was Dave's question?
The article.
When's the market going to crash? Correct.
Hold on.
That's all I want to know. These podcasts get a little long in the tooth now.
Okay. Well, let me just finish my statement. So the reason I even say that is the people who own the companies, XYZ, they're the ones who got paid all this money. They put it in the market. They're whatever.
Okay.
The luxury real estate market. I said it last podcast, and I'll say it again.
Why?
Is going absolutely bananas. Mm-hmm. We have never seen this many houses in Silicon Valley over $10 million fly off the shelf. Yep. You list a house in Saratoga for $7 million, boom, 7.8, 7.9, sold in 7 days, multiple offers. Those are the people who really thrived all through COVID. I hate to say it.
That's great. And then back to
your
question that started the segment, which was,
sorry about that.
With all that great information and knowledge that you have in that little brain of yours, when do you think the real estate market is going to correct?
Yeah. I will say, first quarter next year, first to second quarter next year. Earlier, if you would ask me that a couple months ago, I would say fourth quarter. But I think we're getting, I say first to second quarter. And, kind of a little off subject, I don't want to diminish your question because I think it's very important. But if I'm a buyer.
Little brain of yours.
If I'm a buyer, what's our advice to our buyer when they're buying at a time like this, right? I always tell them, I say, listen, if you're out here and you think you're going to sell in the next 3 to 5 years because you got a job, contract, and you're going to be out here in 2 months, don't buy.
Say it again.
If you're looking to buy, but you're only going to be here 3 to 5 years, do not buy.
Do not buy.
The key time period is that 7+ years. 5+ years might be a little narrow, which we're at now, but we know that we cycle. So if you're a buyer, I always tell buyers, listen, you're never going to go out, like you get the buyer, I want to go find me a great deal. You're not going to find a great deal today, but it'll be an incredible deal 7 years from now.
Yeah.
No matter where the market's at today. We look at .com, we look at now, crazy prices, but you know what? Still great quality of life to live here, and it's
also
awesome. So.
really great in Texas.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the Texas market,
Call Mark Foncano.
Give me a call. We'll do it.
All right, Mark will buy it or sell it.
There you go. Either way. All right.
All right,
Close
guys.
us
Well,
out.
hey, another great discussion, between the four of us. Ben, your contribution, it just
Ben, we're so happy to have you.
I want to know where he gets his haircut.
Ooh, if you guys are looking for a great barber, Jerry's.
Jerry's?
Campbell
All right,
and
cool.
Santa Monica
Good.
Kino.
But Ben, as always, we appreciate you hosting this podcast for us.
Thank you.
And as always, guys, if you have any questions about anything real estate related, that's why it's the All Things Real Estate podcast. We would love an opportunity to sit down with you, talk about what we love, which is buying, selling, investing in real estate.
And as always, who you work with matters.
Take care, guys.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Airspace. He wanted to say it so bad. I snuck that in there.
Remember, when choosing your real estate agent, who you work with matters. And I'll see you guys soon.